We told you about how we have to do the news review in our Mamavi. You start.
Yes, I've got the Daily Graphic and the Ghanaian Times. So let's start traditionally with the Daily Graphic newspaper, front page of the graphic. The banner headline, lifting of partial lockdown, nation's capacity informed decision. According to President Akufo-Addo, boy 2 drowns in abandoned well. Businesses open after lockdown. Parties expressed mixed reactions over lifting of lockdown. That's what's on the front page of the paper. But you see in the center spread, AGRA, that's the Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa, rallies support for farmers. Also, TUC commends president for lifting lockdown. Wrong use of mask gives no protection. That's according to the Director of Health Promotion at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Da Costa Abuaji. And on the back page of the graphic today, East Mamprusi police kill suspected armed robber, arrest others. FDA recalls all batches of COA FS food supplements. That's a story that we highlighted a bit when we did the review. It's on the back page of the paper. So you see all batches of the products. How is that even possible? Let's do the Ghanaian Times newspaper, front page of the Times.
It means everything.
Everything from the ones that people have consumed already. When you say all batches, that's what it means. Since the products started, as in since it was released onto the market. That's all why batches. This is... Hey. So that's why, like, we need to be having conversations with the FDA on this. Yeah. Okay. FDA's recall, so the story is also in the Times. FDA's recall of COA FS. Public raises concern. We will see the angle in the Times. NDC, TUC, others react to lifting of partial lockdown on COVID-19. Business activities bounce back in Accra, Kumasi after 3-week lockdown. It's to save people from hardship. Reason for the lifting of the lockdown. The president explains. Minister applauds Zoom Lion, MMDAs, security agencies for 3-day cleanup exercise in Accra. On the back page of the paper, the Ghanaian Times, President donates assorted food items to 13 traditional councils here in the Greater Accra region. And Valco presents items to Tema Regional Police Command to fight coronavirus. So the two stories on the back page of the Times newspaper. That's it. We'll come back and do a bit of details of some of the stories in the papers today, but Roland will do the New Crusading Guide. And that COA FS story is occupying the front page of the New Crusading Guide. It is not the main story, though. It says it's been captioned, FDA under fire over recall of COA FS. So it depends on which media house is taking a look at it. And, well, yesterday I was having an interaction on one of the platforms I belong to. And apparently a known personality on the platform who works with the institution was explaining further some of the things, which is the generic and the routine things that could occasion an action like this by the FDA. Quite interesting when you take. But again, just like Mamavi said, we have to dig deep, delve into the subject, have an interaction with the manufacturer and also with the FDA, which is a regulator, to get to have good reasons why both of them would have concerns on their side. Main story, TUC backs Akufo-Addo over lockdown ease. Story on page 3 and extended to 10. But down there, related to the coronavirus pandemic, its spread, its containment in Ghana, we will fight till corona is eliminated. The Ghana Medical Association is assuring the president of our republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Up there, COVID-19, Ghana gets $500 million debt repayment freeze from the World Bank. That story is on page 9 of the paper. It says, forms part of a pan-African effort to bring debt relief to Africa. We already do know that the IMF, the other institutions had given about 19 countries that fall below a certain threshold. It also included Rwanda at the time. Just over the last week to have some access and debt forgiveness, so to speak.
we're not part. And so we're a big country, so for pay, well, the money we'll go pay them. I will see how it goes. I think that'll do. The stories on the front page of the newspaper. The new Crusading Guy, Marvi.
All right, let's do a bit of the reaction to the KOA FC, because that's what the Ghanaian Times is reporting. But let's take a bit of that story on the back page of the Daily Graphic newspaper first. On the Food and Drugs Authority recalling all batches of KOA FS food supplement manufactured by the KOA Herbal Center in Cape Coast and registered by the authority as a food supplement. The authority said the recall was as a result of laboratory analysis on samples picked from the market and manufacturing facility of KOA Herbal Center in Wasukrom near Cape Coast, which showed excessive microbial, it's a scientific word. So they found some bacterials, mold and yeast contamination, which ideally shouldn't be in the product. Reason for the recall. But if you check the Ghanaian Times, there's a reaction because they said the story says the order by the Food and Drugs Authority to manufacturers of popular food supplement KOA FS, KOA Herbal Center to withdraw the product from the market over claims of unsafe consumption has raised concerns over how the regulatory body relates to local entrepreneurs or companies who produce groundbreaking products. Okay, so it gives you a background of the reason for the FDA, but I want more of what people are saying. All right, so here we go. But many Ghanaians have expressed surprise over the FDA's action, considering the fact that KOA FS was on high demand following the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking to the Ghanaian Times, many observed that before the FDA's order, Ghanaians as well as foreigners were patronizing the drug, which they believed has been licensed in Ghana. Now, here's a little of what I know. So if you manufacture Roland, I think we talked briefly about this yesterday. You will take your samples to the FDA, they will test the samples, and then if everything is okay, they'll give you the go-ahead. That's when you say it's been duly registered. But going forward, you don't send every sample you produce afterwards to the FDA for them to check, so that they are checking every batch as you produce. That's the norm. They don't do that. But what they do is what they did in this instance, where they go to the market randomly, they pick your products, and they can do the test because they are the regulator. And if they find that there's something wrong, usually they'll test different batches. And the recall will be on specific batches. That's why I think this is great. So I think instead of being emotional and thinking, oh, there must be something, just understand how the FDA works and appreciate where they're coming from. They will not say they're recalling all batches if they don't have a cause to. That's really important. So ideally, they'll take the samples from the market and do the test. And what will be affected would usually be a certain batch. And they do this, it's not reported. It happens to almost all the manufacturing companies. Sometimes it's water or a soft drink. They go and find it and they test, and then they will realize, and sometimes it's because of the way it's being kept. And then they'll come back to the company and tell them, this particular batch, there's a problem with it, withdraw from the market. Yeah. But to say all batches, they have done their work and they've come to this conclusion.
And I have to state that it's good that you said that it's not peculiar to the manufacturers of the KOA FS.
Yeah.
Indeed, yesterday I saw a chart which even involves a recall of some products of some of the top pharmaceutical
It happens to almost all of them.
It's only that because it's on the sideline, it's a regulatory issue. It's not a market issue. So they do this mystery shopping, as we call it in marketing or elsewhere, and you get to find what the routine is, what usually is on the shelves, and it's being consumed by the population, and that is their work. And we're hoping that when we have the discussion with them, at least our viewers also will have a better understanding as to how this is done, why this is routine, and even there's any conspiracy theory at all, we'll put all that to bed.
But I think that, as a people, if a regulator does this, it should give us confidence instead of bring different theories on board. It should give you a lot of confidence that the regulator is watching, and if they think somebody's not doing something right, they can recall. So it should boost our confidence in the FDA, I think. Yeah. All right. Any other story? Otherwise, we do myjoyonline.com?
No, we can straight away zoom in.
All right. So let's check out what's making headlines on our page, myjoyonline.com. Here we go, Roland.
Yeah. So we have decision to lift lockdown makes me nervous. Infectious disease specialist. It's making a lot of people nervous, actually, even in private conversations. You know, it's just that hunch that says that you see people around, they're not putting on the masks, they're talking, they are in groups, they're milling or mingling, and it just, based on those scenes that you see, doesn't make you comfortable. The scene you see doesn't give you comfort. But it's all, as the president said, now us and our behavior. If we want to survive, we have to be sensible. We have to add common sense to daily living to make sure that we survive. Yeah, because when there was a lockdown, we said, look, open up. Now, we've opened up and we are raising issues. It is a behavioral issue, Mamavi.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have other stories also on the homepage. Just make sure you scroll through. You have global health expert predicts spike in Ghana's coronavirus cases. We have others also. Ignore fake memo on MPP parliamentary primaries. Okay, just saw one. Posted it to Derek Ekosam to check it out, whether it's true. And the WHO head is also warning of worse virus times, which is still ahead, and it's all because there are fears.
Yeah.
Yes. We'll play that to you.
Japan is also offering sex workers financial aid amid
I love that. Sex workers in Japan.
That activity in Ghana is illegal. Before you start talking, let's do the BBC. Let's do the BBC before we go.
I should visit Japan.
But also prominently is the GMA backing the president's decision. Okay, so this is the BBC. Virus fears in Tanzania. Parliament as MP diagnosed. The highlights of the stories. Nigeria apologizes for mistakes at president's aid burial. You remember there's an actress, very popular actress, who did a party right after they also issued their directives with a lockdown and no gathering more than the 25. That actress was punished for holding a party. And then right after, people were doing the comparison, because after the chief of staff died, they did the funeral, they did not respect any social distance rule, nothing. So now Nigeria is apologizing for that. They call it a mistake, but there's nobody going to be punished for that, is there? All right, so that's one of the big stories. So you can see pictures of the funeral, and this is right in the midst of the pandemic, and this is COVID-19. The same virus that killed the person they were burying. No respect for any of the rules. All right, but also one of the stories making headlines is the Brazilian president. The Brazilian president who really doesn't believe in any virus, who suddenly joins a protest that wants the army to take over and take charge of coronavirus. No lockdowns, nothing. So that's the group, and it's also generating a lot of controversy. A whole president joining about 600 persons who are protesting and asking for the military to take over.
But I like
coronavirus.
I like
I know you will. Whatever. Another story is Facebook. So Facebook is putting a limit. Okay, Facebook is trying to limit the kind of posts that people, is actually banning posts and groups promoting anti-lockdown protests that don't comply. So it's not just the protests, but those that don't comply with government health directives, as organizers of those events seek to recruit new members on social media. Also one of the stories that making particularly the Republican in America very unhappy. And I thought we will end with this. The Champions League. The conversation is back, Roland, on the Champions League going forward, how to finish the rest of the games. Well, how about matches played every 3 days? So, you know.
Won't be bad. And talking about the Champions League, we also know that there have been a number of English clubs, apart from Watford, which did that the last 24 hours, to, again, cut